All right, and I just heard that KingRhodesTn is all ready to start Sonic 3D Blast, so we're going to go ahead and cut on over to him.
All righty, let's get it started here in a minute. So I'm King Rhodes. This is going to be a Sonic 3D Blast. So before I start, I'll go ahead and introduce my couch. To my right is my wife, Smallfryebek. Then I'll let them introduce themselves going across here.
All right, I'm Dagrim.
My name's Ambercyprian.
I'm TGH.
And we have Kick-Ass Pancakes over here in the corner. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and just jump into it. We'll count down from 3. So go 3, 2, 1, go.
Woo!
Get it.
So we're going to skip the first cutscene and only cutscene.
So this is Sonic 3D Blast, and we're going to start in our first level here in Green Grove 1. The goal of the game, actually, as you can see, is you actually have to beat every Batnik in every sector, and there's 5 every sector, and collect the flicky that pops out. And we're going to be bringing them right to the goal ring at the end of this sector here, and that's kind of rinse and repeat for the flow of the game. This is the any % category, so we're not getting any Chaos Emeralds or anything like that. I'm sorry, they're cough drops. They're cough drops, that's very important. So Rhodes here is actually going to make an attempt to get this gold shield here, which gives him the ability to home in on enemies. Very prehistoric homing attack prior to the Sonic Adventure era, and you might actually recognize this track from Windy Valley as well. So many, not many, but a few of the select tracks were reused for Sonic Adventure 1, where most people have heard this soundtrack before.
So a couple more of the main mechanics of the game. So you saw a couple times during that level, actually, he got a flicky snipe from out behind him as well. So Batniks can do that, or actually anything that can damage you can snipe a flicky from out behind you, which is really annoying. Also, if you lose, if you get hit by an enemy or anything that damages you, it not only takes away all your rings or makes you lose all your rings, but also all your flickies, which can get really annoying.
Yes, so you'll actually notice that the flickies are different colors. They all have different AI based on their color. Blue and purple tend to be the most friendly, as they are actively looking for Sonic when they're not attached to him. And then we will see in just a moment here, we'll see a worm that will produce a red flicky. And those things, if you let them touch the ground, stop hopping around back and forth in place, roughly around where they were released. And then in the following zone, Rusty Ruin, we'll see the dreaded green flickies, where they kind of wander around aimlessly. There's very little RNG in this game, but the closest thing to RNG we have is the flicky AI, primarily the red and green flickies based on what direction they're gonna face, and that's all tied to the frame that you're in the stage.
Yeah, it's not RNG, but it's basically luck.
Yeah.
In this case.
There's also certain enemies that like to behave sort of randomly in their movement, too.
Yeah, so most enemies are cycle-based. Well, actually, all enemies are cycle-based, but the type of cycle they are is different. Most of them are camera-based, so they're based on, like, when they're actually on camera, they'll start doing their movement. And then others are global cycles, like the worms in the previous stage. But now we have our first boss. This is Green Grove 3, and the boss flow in this game tends to be Eggman doesn't attack, he makes himself vulnerable, you hit him in the cockpit, and rinse and repeat. And the ideal cycle here is to...
Ooh, that's fine.
Yep, you want to lead the spike ball underneath him and get 2 hits, which is a fairly tight window.
Nice.
Nice.
Not too bad there.
26 is a very good time.
Yes.
It's very typical to see that in a 2-2-1 cycle.
Yeah, the hitboxes of Robotnik are pretty problematic. I mean, not so much in a number of fights, but there's some fights.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we'll touch on those.
We will touch on those.
But the best music in the game right now, in my opinion here, by far.
Yeah, absolutely. Rusty Ruin is best song, Get At Me.
What a jam.
And so we've introduced the green flickies. They're produced by these crocodiles here. Meanwhile, this stage also introduces its own gimmick right here with these spinning platforms. They cause Sonic to spin like a ballerina, and he's also very heavily made of rubber while he's in this state, so he ricochets off the walls like he's a rubber ball. And this is the time where I bring up that this game was developed by Traveler's Tales, which also developed Sonic R. And if you've ever played Sonic R, everything in that game is made of rubber. So this was kind of the precursor to that, and very good job on that long spin. Yeah, taking no hit there is very important because you are required to carry that spinning state for quite a while to break those pillars, because that is mandatory. Sonic can't break those on his own.
Ooh, missed that. It's all right.
It's
Trying
all
to go
right.
for a combo there off the beat down of the crocodile.
Yeah, that spinning spike, or the spinning thing with spikes on it. I don't know.
It can be.
Yeah, that's one of the things that Ember was mentioning is on a global cycle throughout the entire level. So that can be a little bit hard to avoid if you don't know exactly where you are.
Yeah, so global cycles are mostly just tied to the frame at the stage start. So if you do the stage the same exact way every time, then those spinning spike balls will be in the exact same position every single time. Whereas like camera-based ones, they will be in the same position regardless of how fast you get over to them. It's based on when they appear. But I almost freaked out for a moment because in Best Ending, where you collect all the Chaos Emeralds, we do something that you don't see in any percent called freed flicky flagging. I knew I was gonna get it.
There we go. Tongue twister of the day.
So that's pretty normal for me to do that. I'm on 3 hours of sleep, for the record. So
That name was specifically designed to make Amber flub saying it.
yeah, actually. Shout out to
Fun fact.
Zergriff, who's another runner of this game. He discovered that back in, I want to say November. It was November or December, and it was incredible. What that does is flickies have 3 different states, and I'll just touch on it real quick because it is a very interesting bit of tech. When they are trapped, they are still in their badnik, can't do anything about that. When they're freed, they are freely roaming and they're not in their badnik, but they're not attached to Sonic. And then they are following, which is when they're in this state right now, where they're actively following Sonic. And the game's coded in such a way where if you enter a special stage with no flickies attached to you, but they're free and roaming, when you exit the special stage, they are suddenly all attached to Sonic, and I assume that's a fail-safe for the coding.
Okay, this quick kill. All right,
Okay.
got up there.
Nice.
We got our damage boost.
3, 4.
I'm gonna jump to be safe
Nice.
there.
Yeah.
Very good.
Very nice.
That is
There it is.
deceptively difficult.
Yeah, so that's the Rusty Ruin 3 quick kill. And what you saw him do there was he damage boost off of the
The front of the knight mech.
yeah, yep, exactly. And faced right before he did it, and that knocked him back onto the hand. And it's some pretty peculiar timing to get all 5 hits there, but very well done there by Rhodes.
And you can run off on the 4th and 5th hit, but I wanted to be safe and not risk falling into his face. Oh.
Yeah, for some reason, Sonic's hitbox is active, or he's able to damage Eggman while running into him in that particular fight. I don't quite understand why that does that, but John Burton, if you're ever watching this, can you tell us some of the things that just don't make sense, like boss hitboxes, please?
All right, so we are now in Discount Candyland, by the way, a.k.a.
The McDonald's
Spring
play
Stadium
place.
3. I almost forgot the proper name for it, actually.
I call it worst music zone, personally.
So this zone introduces a couple of new types of tiles, including these rev up. Actually, no, that's not a new tile. These bumper tiles. First off, bumpers are really bad. You need to avoid them. It's hard to avoid them, unfortunately. What else? What am I?
We have the
missing?
spikes.
The spike,
Spikes.
yeah.
Yep, the spikes. Where if you stand on them for more than a few frames, they will damage you.
And then of course, these sets of 4 springs, which you'll notice he ran right over those 2. Those sets of springs, usually only one of them is active, and it's important for runners to know which ones are active and which ones are decoys, because that's important, because very often if you hit a spring unintentionally, that will lose a lot of time. Deceptively so.
All right, Act 2 here.
That's an example of a bumper actually doing something worthwhile.
Yeah. Imagine that.
Yeah, like half the time, when I first taught TGH how to run this game, the very first thing he did in Spring Stadium 1 was he got between 2 bumpers at the very beginning and was just going back and forth, and he looked at me, he's like, this stage sucks. And I was like, yeah. And one of my other commentators that I usually have alongside me, Mike89 or Sega Junkie, Michael, if you're hearing this, bumpers are really awful. His notes specifically are for SS1 and SS2 are just, bumpers are awful. Bumpers are really awful. And that's all he's got. Like, that's all you need to say.
So you'll notice that Rose actually kind of backtracked there for that gold shield. That's actually going to come in really handy near the end of the stage, where there's a really annoying crab badnik. That's in between some spear tiles, which we actually haven't gone over, I think. So spears that stick pretty much infinitely up out of the ground if you stand on them for, again, more than a couple frames. They're very annoying. Yeah, so Gold Shield really helps with those, with that badnik especially.
It is possible to do it shieldless. There is a setup, but it is significantly slower than just using the gold shield.
And it's generally, you have 4 flickies by that point too, so losing those flickies on a spear is very, very annoying.
Yeah, you'll actually see a number of holes on the ground when we get to it. It'll be this the flicky after this one.
Yep.
Or after this one, rather. I lost
coming
count.
up here.
Right here. Like, those are awful.
So the gold shield kind of trivializes that flicky, which is really nice and some peace of mind.
All right.
So there's a very good reason why this zone is the worst zone. Not only does it have the worst color palette, the worst music, the worst tiles, it also has the worst boss in the game, both casually and speedrunning.
Yeah, this guy's hitbox is awful. Truly awful.
Yeah, I have yet to see a hitbox viewer. All right, we got the first hit. 3, 5,
That's good.
6.
That's really good.
Oh!
He was
So close.
a couple of pixels away from an 8-hit setup, which is very difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Still
very
really good boss.
So,
Still
So
really
Very
close,
good.
so
good.
close.
so if you do want to know, if you jump off of a slope, you just go flying that one direction, and I think that's what happened there.
Yeah, I just.
Yeah, slopes will affect your movement in this game heavily.
All right, so Ice Laurel.
Hey man, I heard you like playing a game in ice physics, so we put an ice world level in your ice physics game so you can slip while you slide.
Thankfully, there's not too much ice, around here. Actually, what's the really scary part are these certain snowmen enemies. Yeah.
So turrets are bad, right? Imagine them moving, and also you need to kill them in order to get flickies.
And when you kill them, you still have to break an ice block with that flicky. And imagine that they can insta-kill you as well.
That's a thing. Yep.
Yeah, it's a glitch very similar to the spike glitch in Sonic 1, if I recall.
Yes.
So yeah, there is a possibility if they are approached in a certain way that you can kill them, but also die on the same frame. Because you're supposed to have iframes, but you actually don't.
Yeah, what happens there is they move, they spin around and fire projectiles, and what happens on that is if you don't beat him to his attack cycle, you will run into the projectile and then run into him despite the fact that you're also going to kill him. And if anyone is familiar with Sonic 1 spike glitch, like TGH said, you're supposed to have iframes after taking a hit from the projectile, and you just don't. So you immediately die after. And everyone thinks that you're getting crushed by the ice block. That is not the case. That is a very common misconception.
It's
That's a
when
very
he
solid.
starts shooting, right? Yeah.
That was a very solid end of DD1, by the way. Very nice.
Yeah, that kangaroo, the second to last guy, he control you by being on the edge, and you can jump up to him and get hit by him, and it's caused a lot of chaos there.
Yeah, there's also a sheet of ice that you can break through and fall into an earlier part of the stage.
I just learned that about a week ago, and in a run it happened. I had no idea it could do that. That's crazy.
That's how most people figure it out. Like, I'm like, what's that crashing noise? And then next thing I know, I'm in Sector 1 again.
That was a really nice snowman kill.
Yeah, that thing actually frightens me as a best-ending runner.
Yeah. The snowman that I'm personally frightened of is the one coming up here.
Yeah.
I never roll him. You will die if you roll him.
More than likely.
Yeah.
That's the snowman arena. It is awful. We like to think that the pogo stick rabbit and the snowman are duking it out, so we call it the snowman arena.
Do you want to talk about some of the differences between Genesis and Saturn versions of this game?
Yeah, sure. So the Genesis and Saturn versions, very often in stream, you'll get someone come in and say, is this the Saturn version of the stream, of the game, rather? The answer is no. Besides visuals and soundtracks, which are both very, very different, the games are fundamentally the same in any percent. However, there are some main differences are in best ending, where this stage is actually home to us getting 2 Chaos Emeralds in the best ending Emerald route, and that's simply not possible in the Saturn and PC versions, where you can only get 1. If you go to the second special stage, you just get rewarded with an extra life, so you have to pick up another singular emerald elsewhere in the run. But thankfully that doesn't apply here, as we're in the any percent bad ending category.
Yeah, I think the main difference in the 80% run is the soundtrack.
So this boss is really, really good, I promise. It is essentially an auto-scroller, and I know you love those. And you'll see him standing, he'll probably be manipulating the AI to just so he's able to time his jumps properly. But now would be a wonderful time for a couple of donations.
Awesome, we've got a few. I have $25 from Storm Rider. It's 6:30 a.m. and I've given up on sleep, so I might as well watch the Sonic run. Good luck to King Rhodes on the run, and shout outs to TGH and Amber on the couch.
What's up, Storm?
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Storm.
We have $25 from Kuriyami86. Oh, Sonic 3D, the game that started my love for speedrunning 7 years ago, coming back to the main stage. If only I could have been in there in person for it. Best of luck on the run, and may the flickies be nice to you. And shout-outs to the couch crew as well.
Thank you so much, Kura. Kura is actually the world record holder for both categories currently, and one of my leading inspirations for running the best ending category in general, like 5 years ago myself, 5 or 6 years ago. So shout-outs to her. Wish you could be here. Hopefully see you at AGDQ. But now we're in Volcano Valley Zone.
So this is one of my favorite stages, personally. If it's done right, it feels really, really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything is made of fire. So typically there's a backup fire shield we could get here if we were learning the run or we're beginners, but we want to go fast, so we don't want to lose like the 5 to 7 seconds it takes to get that shield. So our goal here is to avoid all the fire hazards, and you especially don't want to fall into lava, because the way the flickies behave over lava, they ignore Sonic entirely, and they will try to go for supposedly the nearest solid ground, which doesn't always work. Yeah. And then there's these blue platforms here. You're supposed to spin dash on them to be able to go up. And what we often do is we try to make it so that we are
bad luck.
They want that
This is really annoying, yeah.
We try to make sure we're as far back on the platform as we can get comfortably, so that we can spin dash jump up and skip the last bit of the ascent, which is a bit faster than just doing it normally. However, if you fall off for any reason and you end up under one of those, they can absolutely crush you and kill you. And that's a wonderful thing I found out.
Yeah, and just failing to jump up can result in a pretty large time loss too, because they take forever to come down.
Yeah.
So,
like, they go down as slowly as they go up, which is why falling off them is bad.
All right, this level.
Yeah, see if we hit the first jump here, or the power up.
There's a setup here where you can bounce off of this. There we
Nice.
go. Perfect. Very nice.
And he needs to hold on to the shield. Like, this is mission critical. He holds on to this.
Yeah, in any percent, you actually get to keep the fire shield throughout the entire the entirety of the run. So we're hoping we do that, because losing it, there's like a number of hazards at the end of the stage that are just aggravating to deal with shieldless, which best ending you're forced to, because there's an emerald that you would pick up at the end of the run right there in the top right. Tails is hiding behind that wall. And then we have to do the rest of the stage without the shield, and it sucks. Thankfully, this is looking pretty good here.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, we're definitely good. Rolling to that guy. This right here is where it's like impeccable, or like absolutely critical that you keep the shield, because without the fire shield, those flamethrowers and the lava, like one mistimed jump can absolutely ruin your day.
And when you have all 5 of them flying over the lava, it's insane.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's 59. I'll take a 59 there, too.
Yeah,
Sub
that's
1
incredible.
DP2. That's really good, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's a quick kill, I guess. I'm not going to go for it in this.
The quick kill is the casual kill anyways.
Pretty much.
I don't understand
My
what...
momentum just died, though.
Yeah, like, I'm not entirely sure what they were thinking when they designed this boss, because, I mean, you just hold down right and jump.
Yeah, it's basically run and jump and hit the boss.
Yeah, Sonic's a firewalker. So,
Gene Gadget.
yeah, we're gonna move
Gene
on to
Gadget.
what is easily the hardest zone in the run, Gene Gadget. And this introduces a number of tiles on its own, including those fans. I heard you like falling in a very helpless state right into flickies, so we're gonna do that for you. And then there's also these electric tiles that are gonna be coming up. And you'd think that the blue shield, like you've seen it a couple of different times, you'd think that that would just be your standard shield, like in Sonic 1 and 2, where if you, it just blocks a hit for you. No, interestingly enough, the blue shield has another element to it. It protects you from lightning damage, which I didn't find out until like maybe 4 months ago.
Yeah, I didn't know until shout out to the only kid. He came into my chat one day and he was like, hey, you don't have to keep jumping around when you have a shield. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, the only kid is a tasker of this game. He tasked Best Ending, so shout outs to him. Wish you were here, man. Very good friend of ours.
Yeah, so this level, when I first started learning this level, Amber was teaching me the run. And I asked her, what the first IL I should learn for this game is, and she immediately said Gene Gadget 1, because it is pretty much the hardest zone on the run.
It really is.
Like, objectively speaking. But yeah, so I'm glad I did, because it set the pace for the rest of my learning quite well.
Yeah, because I recommend Gene Gadget for any new runner. Just get the hardest zone out of the way first. It teaches you all the intricacies of movement and why getting hit is bad. And you learn very quickly to improve learning the other zones. But guys, you know what time it is? Do you know what time it is?
Not yet. Next.
No, it's Slope of Rage time.
Oh, that time. That time. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
Oh, the Slope of Rage.
This time I get my times confused.
Yeah, Slope of Rage is terrible.
So we're actually at the bottom of the Slope of Rage right here, picking up that flicky. And we pick up that flicky first because we don't want to fall down the Slope of Rage. So there's going to be one right here by this turret, which is awful. And
I'll take this a little slow here.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the goal here is we have a bit of a setup where we go from the entrance of that, or the exit of that teleporter, we go to the top right of the slope, the middle left of the slope. Nice, not
Ooh,
getting hit
very
by
nice,
that turret.
yeah.
And then bottom right here, we're gonna,
I'll let him go.
We're gonna play chicken with the turret.
There we go.
There we go. Nice.
That was a
Good.
very
All right.
friendly green flicky.
Yeah, it was. Normally you want to hit him in the air, and that way you can kind of just run around it, but glad I didn't get trolled there.
Yeah, that's like the flicky can just wander down the ramp. You can get hit and get knocked down the ramp. It's awful.
Any Slope of Rage where you don't fall is a good Slope of Rage.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In my book.
Yeah, or any Slope of Rage where you don't have to like go down and go through the teleporter. Like if those flickies go down that slope, what happens is to get them to appear at the end of the slope, you have to exit the teleporter that you have to normally go to get to the rest of the stage, and then come back to the bottom of the slope where we got the first flicky, and then suddenly they're spawned there. But
That was
definitely,
a really
good one.
Yeah, it was.
That was
definitely really good Gene Gadget there. But now,
Now real show.
the real time.
All right, so with this stage, you can basically abuse a mechanic here. If you stand at a 45-degree angle,
Now would be a great time for donations
Yes.
as we use the conveyor belt to our advantage here.
All right, we have a $5 donation from GK246. Excited to see Sonic 3D Blast get back into a GDQ. Just one question. How did you convince this fellow to play this game, Amber? We call it isometric madness for a reason. Good luck, Rhodes. And we have a $10 donation from Spoodle. Longtime watcher, first time donating. Sonic has been my childhood, so it's cool to see it run live. 3D Blast has taunted me since I was very small, and I finally beat it this year. Best of luck, King.
Oh, whoop, no, we're not done. Here we go.
more.
We have a $50 donation from Stephen J. They don't leave a comment, but thank you so much.
And one more, I believe.
Yeah, I think we're at 7.
Yeah. I don't ever count. Just kind of have a feel like, it's about right.
There we go.
There we go.
Very solid Gene Gadget 3.
And it moves us into the last kind of level of the game, I guess.
So this is Panic Puppet. Canonically, Eggman did not have the time to put flickies in Badnik, so he just put them in these godforsaken tubes. Oh my god, if you were to replace every Badnik in the game with these tubes, it would have been way worse, I promise. Because these tubes, interacting with solid objects in this game is very difficult because of the isometric perspective. And you have to jump on the very top of these tubes. You can't jump into the side and expect to break them. You have to jump on top. And the hitboxes in this game, I don't know what they are, to be very blunt with you.
Yeah, we'd kill for a hitbox viewer.
Yeah, so if Upthorn, the person who told me about the flicky AI being frame-based, if you could do the hitbox viewer, that would
There
be
we go.
Wow.
Let's go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That is very
I was
risky to
contemplating
do
doing that.
Yeah.
Figured why not?
Yeah, so
I
there's
respect
an
it.
invincibility
respect it.
box, in case you were wondering what just happened. There's an invincibility box near the exit to that little room there. Most runners will go get that invincibility box, but Rhodes has got some guts.
Yeah, it is very gutsy to do that because those turrets are actually awful. If you do get hit there without the invincibility, you can easily lose 10 plus seconds just trying to get your life together again.
All right, so Panic Puppet 2. It has no flickies. Only zone in the game that has no flickies besides bosses.
Imagine this playing like a Sonic game and not an escort mission.
Yeah, it's basically like a gauntlet. And we have a moment coming up where we need to shout out a friend of ours, actually.
Yeah, and also this game has a number of obstacles that are very awful, including the dreaded Eggman. Shout out to Swezzy, another runner of this game. He's the source of that. But here we have mandatory isometric platforming. In every other instance, we're able to skip it.
There we go.
There we go.
Nice.
Very clean.
Nice.
That is not easy to get consistently. It takes a lot of runs to get used to that, but in every other instance of the game where the game tries to trick you into platforming in an isometric perspective, which is awful, we're able to skip it with like a spring or a spin dash jump. You can't really do that there, so it is therefore mandatory isometric platforming or mipping.
All right, so here we have the final boss of this category, actually. So this first phase here has 2 hands that will try and pummel down on you when they're right over Sonic, and that will activate the hitboxes on the shoulders. As you can see, it's blinking.
Ooh.
Uh-oh. And it can be kind of hard to
Go up and around here, yeah.
Yeah, it can be hard to wrap around and get the correct angle to hit it.
Yeah, because one thing we have not mentioned is that Sonic's movement is, while the controls are very responsive, his movement is very, very slippery.
Yes.
So it takes a while of adjusting to this game for sure.
And that was the hardest phase of the fight. So yeah, so here we have a flame that'll chase Sonic around, and actually Rhodes is doing a setup here.
Nope. He's not doing a setup there.
I was trying.
So it just so happens that spin dashing around here will set you up pretty perfectly for the next hit.
Yeah, you just have to remember to jump at the end, so I never do, so I just kind of run around it, yeah. So this game became a game of billiards.
If you do this right, you don't even really have to press the control stick. And sometimes that gets in your way, and that's...
All right, so that's not die at the last hit there. All right, and we're gonna show this off here as well.
Yeah, so this is actually a slower strat, but it is a very beginner-friendly, and it is very friendly in TGH and I's 2 players, 1 controller runs. Both hitboxes are actually active when it looks like only one of them is, and that was discovered by the Bailey Renee during one of her casual playthroughs. So shout outs to her for finding this. We all thought it was like, oh man, this is gonna be the easiest phase ever. And then we found out it's like, what, 4 seconds slower?
Yeah, something like that, unfortunately.
Yeah, shout out to the kid for crushing our hopes and dreams, for having an easy end of the fight. So time's gonna be on fade out, not the final hit.
Yep.
So this last hit here, and then on fade out. And time.
There we go.
Great run.
What was that?
Great run.
Oh, but now
27 flat.
Sweet.
Now
Sweet.
we T-pose with Sonic to assert our dominance over Eggman. And then we have a very anticlimactic ending because we did not collect the Chaos Cough Drops, which that ending is also very anticlimactic. So what are you gonna do? But anyone you want to shout out, Rhodes?
Not really. Not gonna think about. Thank you, the GDQ staff for having me here. Being able to bring 3D Blast back here. Thank you to my couch. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us, and shout outs to the 3D Blast community, also known as the International Isometric Salt Mine. Y'all have been wonderful and nothing but forthcoming to me and my shenanigans. I know a donation earlier asked, how did I convince people to play this game?
She's magic.
Yeah, I don't know, honestly. I don't know how I convinced people to play it, but I'm really, really glad to see the community come together and form around this.
It's grown a lot last couple months even.
Yeah, the last 6 months since I came back to the game in October or something. But yeah, definitely check us out on the Sonic Speedrunning Discord, our SRC page and everything. My name is Ambercyprian. If you ever have any questions about this game, I teach this game for practically a living. So
I'm TGH as well. If you ever have any questions, please feel free to contact Amber.
But I think we're good. Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Good job, Rhodes.
Thank you.
All right, that was an amazing run by King. And let's hear it. We have a $500 anonymous donation. Come on. Woo. Thank you so much. Your support means so much to us. And we still have $754.31 left before we meet the Cave Story incentive. So if we can go ahead and get some donations in towards that, because I would love to see that happen. We have a $100 donation from Tuxlu too. Hi, I've been following GDQ events for a few years. Thank you for all these fantastic events. Great runners, couch, games, and cause makes the best event. Can't wait for the Mario World race and the task block. We have a $25 donation from Billion Cookies. Gotta go mildly fast. Shout out to all runners and the GDQ team. And we have a $10 donation from OM Glenn. Cave Story is one of my all-time favorite games. I just had to donate to the incentive for Chaco's Lipstick because Mimigas need love too. Thank you to everyone for making this whole event possible. And Games Done Quick is powered by Twitch, so we're going to go ahead and cut over to a Twitch ad while we get set up for our next game. And we are only $684.31 away from that incentive for Chaco's Lipstick. So let's go ahead and get those in and make that happen. Speaking of, we have a $10 donation from Tails DM. Gotta meet those incentives fast. Looking forward to the Cave Story run. Such a great game. I agree. And we have a $10 donation from Alley55. They say, thanks for such a great event. And on that note, I just want to thank all of you guys again for making this happen. It's an amazing thing that everyone's coming together to do. We've got a $5 donation from Bento Smile, a small donation to shout out the guy in the crowd who dances during the intervals. Keep it up, man. And we are now only $609.31 away from that incentive. So good job, guys. Let's keep going. We have a $50 donation from Trilbs. So glad I could finally donate to SGDQ again, and when better than during the grandfather of the modern indie game. Thanks for all your amazing work and play, everyone. And also, we are now only $494.31 away from that incentive, so thank you guys so much. We're gonna make that happen. We have a $10 donation from Vivi Vampire Queen. Huzzah! Cave Story is one of my favorite games of all time. Let's be kind to Choco. It's nice to be nice. And we have a $50 donation from Bob is Only Bob towards the incentive. Gotta get that lipstick fast. Love to Cave Story and all the tears for this